Imagine being forced to prove that you are a real man in front of a group of strangers, all of them watching, judging every detail of your body. This is not fiction. This actually happened to kings, nobles, princes, and powerful men across Europe. And what you're about to discover will leave you deeply unsettled. In 16th and 17th century Europe, there existed a practice so disturbing that it feels almost impossible to believe. This was a time when royalty and nobility lived under rigid rules designed to protect bloodlines, titles, and political power. But nothing compares to what became known as the Impotence Trial. Yes, powerful men were legally forced to prove their ability to consummate a marriage under observation. This was not a simple medical examination. It was invasive, humiliating, and psychologically brutal. Today, you will uncover the real history behind these trials, how they worked, why they existed, the men who were destroyed by them, and how an entire legal system allowed such cruelty to exist. Prepare yourself. This is one of the strangest and most disturbing practices in European history. Let's go back in time. We are in 17th century France. Among the nobility, marriage was not about love. It was a contract, a political alliance meant to combine wealth, land, and influence. But there was one problem that could destroy everything. What if the husband could not consummate the marriage? What if he was accused of impotence? For the church and for society at the time, a marriage that was not consummated was not considered valid. A wife could legally request an annulment. But for a nobleman, admitting impotence was unthinkable. It meant public disgrace, the collapse of family honor, and political ruin. So the question was simple and terrifying. How do you prove a man's virility? The answer Europe came up with was one of the most invasive legal procedures ever created. The Impotence Trial worked like this. When a noblewoman claimed that her husband was incapable of consummating the marriage, the man had the right to defend himself. But his defense was not words or witnesses. It was his body. A tribunal would be formed, composed of physicians, surgeons, and matrons. Older women believed to have practical knowledge of the human body. The process began with a physical examination. The man was stripped naked in front of these witnesses. His genitals were examined closely for any deformities or signs of dysfunction. The matron's opinions were recorded alongside the doctor's assessments. But often, that was not enough. In many cases, the man was required to demonstrate that he could achieve an erection on the spot under observation. Doctors watched, matrons observed, church representatives sometimes waited nearby. The pressure was immense. In extreme cases, the man was required to attempt to consummate the marriage privately, while witnesses waited outside, ready to enter and confirm whether the act had taken place. The psychological strain of such a demand was overwhelming, and this was not rare. One of the most famous cases occurred in 1659 in France, involving the Marquis de Langy. His wife, Marie de Saint-Simon, claimed the marriage had never been consummated. She requested an annulment. The Marquis denied the accusation and demanded the trial, confident he could prove his virility. He could not. After examinations and humiliating procedures, the tribunal concluded that he was physically incapable of consummation. The marriage was annulled, and his reputation was permanently destroyed. But the most infamous case of all involved the Marquis de Gesvres in 1670. His marriage appeared perfect from the outside. Privileged, wealthy, socially admired, but behind closed doors, his wife claimed nothing ever happened. The case reached the courts. The Marquis denied everything, accusing his wife's family of political manipulation. But the court demanded proof. He was examined, stripped, touched, observed, measured, questioned. Then came the ultimate test. He was ordered to demonstrate sexual capability under observation. He failed. Declared impotent, his marriage was annulled. The court mocked him. Satirical poems spread across France. Songs ridiculed him in public spaces. His social life collapsed. And then, years later, something shocking happened. He remarried and had children, which raised an uncomfortable question. Was he truly impotent, or was he destroyed by pressure, anxiety, humiliation, and fear? That question was never answered. Similar cases occurred in England and across Europe. In one English case, a noblewoman accused her husband while secretly maintaining an affair. The man refused parts of the trial, calling it degrading and inhuman. His refusal was interpreted as guilt. The marriage was annulled. His wife remarried quickly. The system was deeply flawed. Men were judged using pseudoscience. Matrons lacked medical training. Doctors did not understand psychology, stress, or anxiety. Erection failure under extreme pressure was treated as permanent impotence. And once declared impotent, a man's life was effectively over. Why would society allow this? Because lineage was everything. Without heirs, titles were lost. Land was redistributed. Power collapsed. The Church reinforced the system by insisting that consummation was essential for a valid marriage. Sex was not private. It was political, and the cost was human dignity. Eventually, outrage grew. Philosophers of the Enlightenment, including Voltaire, openly mocked and condemned the impotence trial. Physicians began arguing that sexual function was psychological as much as physical. Public opinion shifted. Courts slowly stopped ordering the tests. In France, the practice was officially abolished in 1777. Other European nations followed. The trial was finally recognized for what it truly was: cruel, unscientific, and profoundly inhumane. The impotence trial stands as a disturbing reminder of how tradition and authority can justify cruelty. Men were humiliated. Lives were destroyed. Families were ruined, all in the name of lineage and social order. This wasn't barbarism hidden in the shadows. It was law. It was accepted. It was normal. And that should unsettle us, because every society believes its systems are justified until history proves otherwise. The trial is gone. But the lesson remains. Never accept cruelty simply because it is traditional. Never sacrifice human dignity to protect social contracts, and always question the systems that claim authority over the most intimate parts of human life. If stories like this disturb and fascinate you, subscribe to the channel. There is much more to uncover.